Ever stayed at a hotel where something felt off? You know, like the water from the tap or the vibes of the room itself. Well, imagine that feeling turning into a nightmare when you realize a body has been decomposing in the rooftop tank for weeks. Yeah, it's horrifying. But that's exactly what happened in the Elisa Lam case. In 2013, a Canadian student vanished while staying at LA's notorious Cecil Hotel. Her mysterious disappearance and eventual discovery sparked worldwide intrigue and countless theories. So today, let's delve into this terrifying case and uncover the disturbing details that continue to baffle investigators and the public alike. But before we dive in, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell to get all the juicy deets delivered straight to your feed. Los Angeles, California, January 2013. Elisa Lam, a bright and curious 21-year-old University of British Columbia student, was in the midst of an epic solo adventure across America. With a backpack full of dreams and aspirations, she hopped from city to city, immersing herself in new cultures and experiences. And when she arrived in LA, she took to social media to share her excitement with friends and family. Little did they know it would be the last time they heard from her for a while. Her journey had taken her to some amazing places, each leaving its own unique mark on her adventurous spirit. But now she was ready to explore the City of Angels. So on January, after a long journey, Elisa finally made it to her destination. However, instead of basking in the moment, her adventure was about to take a dark and sinister turn. She checked into the Cecil Hotel, located on South Main Street, a building steeped in a history that was as intriguing as it was unsettling. The hotel had been the scene of numerous suicides and murders over the years, earning it a reputation that was less than stellar. But despite its eerie reputation, Elisa decided to call it home for a few nights. She had no way of knowing that the walls of the hotel were hiding secrets that would soon become her last. January was just another day in LA, bustling and vibrant, until it wasn't. At around 8:45 p.m., Elisa was captured on surveillance video entering the hotel elevator. She was alone, carrying her backpack, and was seen pushing multiple buttons, peering into the hallway and making odd gestures. It was bizarre behavior that would send shockwaves across the world when it was released by the LAPD. For now, though, Elisa disappeared from view, stepping out of sight, out of mind for the next 3 days. But what happened in that elevator would become the last visual record of her being alive. Days passed without a trace of Elisa. No one knew where she could be or what she could possibly be doing. The days turned into a week, and still there was no sign of her. As the clock ticked, worry turned into fear, and fear turned into despair. Her loved ones were frantic, searching for answers, for any clue that could lead them to her whereabouts. Then on February, a desperate search came to an abrupt halt. Guests began complaining about low water pressure and a strange taste in their taps. That's when the hotel's staff made a grim discovery. In one of the rooftop water tanks, they found Elisa's naked body floating eerily. Her clothes and personal belongings were found nearby, adding to the mystery of how she ended up there. As news of this bizarre incident spread, the entire city of LA was thrown into a tizzy. Questions flew around like a swarm of angry bees. How did she get into the tank? Was it suicide, murder, or something else entirely? As the investigation began, the deeper they dug, the more questions arose, creating a tangled web of confusion. But among the most perplexing aspects of this case is the question of how on earth someone could accidentally drown in a water tank. You'd think that if you were in a water tank, you'd either make it out alive or, well, you'd float on the surface. So how does one accidentally drown in a situation like this? Well, according to experts, it might have to do with certain conditions and behaviors. First off, the amount of water in the tank plays a part. If there wasn't enough water to submerge oneself fully, it's possible that Elisa panicked. Thrashing around could have resulted in inhaling water and subsequently drowning. Additionally, the construction of the tank can also play a role. If the tank had inlets or other structural elements, it's conceivable that the current or suction could have pulled her under the surface. However, perhaps the most likely scenario involves Elisa's clothing. Had she attempted to climb out of the tank and slipped, she could have fallen in a way that caused her to inhale water, leading to her tragic demise. Ultimately, it's impossible to say for sure without concrete evidence. But these scenarios offer some insight into the possibility of drowning in a seemingly safe environment, like a water tank. The autopsy report revealed that Lam had no drugs or alcohol in her system at the time of her death, and there were no signs of trauma or foul play. But here's the kicker. She had a history of bipolar disorder, which may have played a role in her bizarre behavior caught on the elevator's CCTV. So here's what we know from the available evidence. Elisa checked into the hotel on January and was last seen alive that same evening in the elevator. Now, those who knew Elisa, including her own family, suggested that her actions in the video, like pressing all the elevator buttons or making peculiar gestures, could be attributed to her struggles with bipolar disorder. In fact, her sister said that she had been diagnosed with the condition shortly before the incident and had been struggling with auditory hallucinations. It is theorized that she might have climbed into the water tank as a means to escape the voices tormenting her, or perhaps she saw the tank as a place of refuge during a manic episode. However, it's important to remember that bipolar disorder manifests differently in everyone. And while it might help explain some aspects of Elisa's behavior, it doesn't account for all the strange elements surrounding her death. Despite the tragic outcome, there is a glimmer of hope in the story. Thanks to the power of social media, particularly YouTube, a platform often associated with unhinged content, has emerged as a beacon of light in these dark times. You see, YouTube is not only a place for entertainment, but also education and support. It's a place where people come together to learn, share, and connect over their shared experiences. Whether you're looking for tips on managing bipolar disorder or seeking a community of understanding individuals, YouTube has something for you. So go ahead, dive into the vast ocean of knowledge and support available on YouTube. And who knows, you might just find the help and guidance you've been searching for. After Elisa's death, the Cecil Hotel changed its name to stay on top of the list. And in 2016, the building underwent a massive renovation, rebranding itself as a luxury hotel. But despite the facelift, the dark cloud of suspicion and mystery still looms large. There are several theories about why the police didn't investigate outside of the hotel, like the water tank. And one reason is simply that the tank was in disrepair, making access challenging. However, an even darker theory suggests that the police might have had a motive to keep the investigation limited. You see, the Cecil Hotel had a long and gruesome history with deaths, including those of several serial killers. And if the police were concerned about the hotel's reputation, they might have intentionally downplayed the investigation to prevent further negative publicity. The death of Elisa Lam remains an enigma, a puzzle with missing pieces and theories aplenty. But one thing's for certain, the case highlights the need for compassion and understanding when dealing with mental health issues. Her death was officially labeled an accident, specifically accidental drowning. The coroner's assessment pointed to her bipolar disorder as a contributing factor, suggesting that a possible psychotic episode might have led to her climbing into the water tank. However, this conclusion didn't sit well with everyone. Many argued that the depth of the investigation seemed insufficient, particularly regarding the lack of scrutiny given to the hotel's staff and guests. So what do you think about the case? Do you think Elisa accidentally drowned after experiencing a psychotic episode, or do you believe there is more to the story? Let us know in the comments below. And hey, if you're a fan of crime mysteries, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We have got plenty more cases to cover, and we love to have you along for the ride.